Did they make
No,
contact?
no. It's pretty close, but this is going to be a drag race.
Look at this.
Moves him to win it. Carl Edwards bump and dump and run.
Here comes Gordon right up to the bumper again.
You hear that wheel spin, Ben?
Yeah, I did hear that wheel spin.
The bump and run.
There it is.
Gordon underneath to the lead. 2 laps to go. But the bump and run is going to get Jeff Gordon the checkered flag at the end of the winless streak. Gordon wins the Sharpie 500 at Bristol.
And Maine really turned around, made a Riley's cage up.
Welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael DUI, joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron, coming off a big weekend down in Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600. And if you're liking the show, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Podcast available on all podcast platforms every Monday night: Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and more. And every Tuesday morning, video available on YouTube. I have that written down. We're recording Tuesday night because it was a long weekend, a Memorial Day weekend, a weekend where we spent it all together. We'll get into that when we break down the Coca-Cola 600. But how was your guys' long weekend besides the race Sunday?
I was with you guys this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Long weekend.
Long weekend.
The details are fuzzy.
Well, the details are really fuzzy, and we'll talk a little bit about that during the race grade because it was the first time I think we were all together in one room since starting this podcast. I think the first time we've been all together since Matt's wedding in October. And
definitely. Yeah.
It was a barn burner of a party. We'll get into that. Not so much of a barn burner of a race, but you guys want to jump into the last week in news.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
All right, the first piece of news I saw came out on Friday. Kind of blew my mind. Rumor has it, so it's already known that 2311 has been looking to expand to a second car team. And, for the last couple months, we've been speculating on whether a driver would retire, maybe who's the next veteran to hang up those racing shoes. And, well, Kurt Busch kind of teased it before the Daytona 500, but now news comes out that Kurt Busch is the number one prospect for the 2311 second car. Also, what number do you think the second car would be for 2311?
Well, it's got to be 45, right?
45?
It has to be. Jordan wore 45, too.
Okay. What do you guys think about that, though? What do you think about Kurt Busch possibly switching over from Chevy to Toyota? And
you know what? We've been talking a lot about Kurt Busch in our text messages this past week because my brain can sometimes become just a wet noodle. And my buddy Jay sent me a video of Kurt Busch. Monster did this big video montage, I guess, and it just aired right before the Daytona 500. I didn't see it. So when he sent me this video, I was like, I didn't see this before. So I had sent it to you guys. And you're like, we talked about this multiple times on the show.
Podcast. Yeah.
And even last week we talked about it. I'm like, dude, I had no idea. So, after that Kurt Busch retirement thing, I think he's done. I really do. I think he's done. I think, now that him and his wife, I think they want to go out and adventure and live a good life after his career of racing. And he said in that little video, he's done everything he's needed to do. So I don't see him going there. I really don't. I think Denny knows better. I think, the young talent coming up, I think they stick with the young crew and they go through with it. I understand a veteran presence, but I think Kurt is just, I don't think he's the one.
No,
I really don't.
Do you think we've seen Kurt Busch's last win at Vegas last year? Could that be the last Kurt Busch win?
I mean, the way he's running right now, what is he, 19th in points?
Yeah.
He just it's problem after problem over there in that one car. So right now, I'd be a fool to say he's going to win again.
I might be mistaken because this could have happened later on in the season. Is this the second motor for Kurt Busch to have blown up during a race this season, or was one later on in the playoffs last year?
I don't know.
I don't recollect.
We were all shocked about it too. Whitey, like you said, we were at Eric's, for the Coke 600, and we had all gathered around the TV, regathered around the TV, and we were like, "What's going on? That's not his engine, is it?" And yeah, it was his engine blown up. And that's something you used to see a lot of, but nowadays, they make those engines so good that
like
it's rare to see an engine blow up. And I was shocked.
That was kind of the allure of the Coca-Cola 600 back in the day. It was man versus machine. Can the machine survive 600 miles? And Kurt Busch's didn't. He lost oil pressure early on in the race, coasted it to the garage. They thought they had the problem fixed. He got back on track, and sure enough, that engine blew up on him all over again. We'll see what happens, what blows up in his career this year, whether it be retirement or whether he jumps over to Toyota and joins the 2311 Brigade. I think it would be a good move just to have a veteran presence over there. But at the same time,
I don't think it would be a good move for 2311. Just because
I don't either.
He's clearly on the ass end of his career. Why sign the guy for a year or two? You have Denny, the veteran presence, who owns the fleet over there to give you information.
Yeah.
So why do you necessarily need that Kurt Busch veteran presence over there? To me, it doesn't make sense.
If we're talking rumors, I do have down here that I could see Brad as a veteran presence because we all know, his situation. I can see Brad maybe moving over there as a veteran driver, still has the talent. He's still running well, way better than Kurt Busch.
Well, we think we have a pretty good beat on what he's doing.
Where he's going.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I love silly season. I absolutely love it. I love the rumors that fly and everything, and then trying to piece it all together to see when I'm right and when I'm wrong.
Now, my rumor, and this all depends on if they stay with Toyota or not. I mean, that is Joe Gibbs Racing over there. Obviously, Denny being an owner and being part of Joe Gibbs. I just think now, just like
Yep. And it looks like we lost Eric there.
Eric froze. I was excited to hear what that rumor was. I want to know what his rumor was. I think we got Eric back.
Eric is back.
Call.
All right.
On my phone. But it all depends if they stay with Toyota. I just think Joe Gibbs, they're going to use that like they did with the 95 and the 77. I think that's going to become their new, if you want to call it farm team. To get to there and kind of use them. I could see maybe them moving around Truex, maybe put Truex over there with Bubba, stick with the team to move someone up into that 19 car, just like they did with Eric Jones. They moved him up and then Seabell and they got rid of somebody. Like, I could see them doing that, but it all depends on if they stay with Toyota or not.
Yeah, and you've got two guys right off the top of my head that are coming up through the ranks. I mean, with Harrison Burton and Ty Gibbs. I know Ty Gibbs, he's going to have to run at least a full season in truck and probably a full season in Xfinity before he jumps over to Cup.
I was going to bring that up when we talk about the Xfinity Series race. We might as well jump into it. Do you think Ty Gibbs would even do a year in trucks? Can he just jump into the Xfinity Series?
Yeah, there's no rule saying that you have to go from trucks Xfinity to Cup. I mean, that's just
opportunity. I think.
Yeah, that's just the natural linear way that guys do it, so they can get seat time, learn different tracks and stuff like that.
I just figured he's doing so well in the Xfinity Series part time. The way it is, he's got 2 race wins under his belt, including one this week. It's like, why even bother doing a truck schedule?
I mean, trucks, I think it's always good to go through the ranks. I think you get respect from the drivers. I think you get respect from the fans. And it's also, you get another tool in your arsenal. You've driven the trucks. The truck is a different animal. And you'll learn from driving in the trucks, it's just a different skill set that you build on being in that truck versus a car. Just like when you come from a dirt background, it's good to race a lot of different things. Yeah. Because then it just makes you a better all-around driver. And in today's world, you need to be an all-around driver to win in Cup. Look at Larson. He's at the top and he's just a wheelman.
Yeah. I think the last thing Ty Gibbs needs as far as a reputation, because you know how NASCAR fans are.
Silver spoon, jumping over.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. Right. So I think him for a million different reasons to do that truck Xfinity Cup.
Speaking
to your point too, though, Whitey, before we move on, like how you were saying, the veteran presence over there and if it's the right move or not. we just said Harrison Burton and Ty Gibbs, they might have a year or two left.
Yeah.
So maybe for this next year or two till they're ready to make that move, because they are the ones in those seats right now down in the lower series, maybe they do bring in a veteran for these 2 years.
Yeah.
Someone like Kurt Busch. So, now I might retract that, and now it might not look like that bad of an idea, especially since Kurt Busch would bring that monster sponsorship to that team.
Yeah.
And who else runs a monster car?
Ty Gibbs.
That's
very true.
So
That's true.
Nice, easy transition.
Right.
Speaking of transitions and speaking of the Truck Series, our Matt's best buddy Josh Berry going to be running some truck races coming up soon. Timothy Peters and Rackley WAR have parted ways, and he's going to be running Texas, Nashville, and Pocono. So Matt's going to see his boy, his man crush Josh Berry live and in the flesh when we go to Pocono for that doubleheader. I believe those are the next 3 Truck Series races, and then they'll have some drivers moving in and out of that ride. Maybe Josh will get some more opportunities as the season moves down the line.
Yeah, that's super exciting. That's the first thing that came into my mind when Eric actually broke the news to us earlier today about that was, that's cool. I wasn't going to get to see Barry live. Now I am. So
yeah,
that's cool. And, like I've said a million times on this show, he deserves every opportunity he gets. So hopefully he can make the most of it.
Absolutely. He's like the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to Ty Gibbs, where he's really working really hard to get some sponsorship together and get any opportunity he can. And his performance as well, running that part-time, he's got a win under his belt, and it seems like it's already opening up doors. So very good for Josh Berry. Speaking of the Truck Series, truck sponsor Camping World is going to be sponsoring the SRX Series. Of course, that's Tony Stewart and Ray Everham's short track series, Superstar Racing Experience on CBS. And it all goes down. It starts on the 12th, so we're getting really close to some Saturday night short track racing on some network TV. I'm really excited to watch that, and I know you guys are as well.
Oh yeah,
definitely just something to tune into just to check it out. I hope all the success to them because, people love short tracks and they want more short tracks on the NASCAR schedule. At least maybe this could be an alternative where maybe you're kind of like us, where you're not too close to a local short track, but you love short track racing. You could watch it on CBS. So hopefully the ratings are high on Saturday night, especially June 12th. You better be tuning in. I know I will be. Let's see. This past week, Hendrick Motorsports passed Richard Petty Motorsports in the all-time wins with 269. We'll talk about that win. Kyle Larson doing the job. Yeah.
I'm going to say something that I know us three have definitely talked about off air. Don't know if we ever brought it up on air. It's going to be controversial, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that win's that impressive for Hendrick Motorsports, and it's nothing that they did wrong. It's because Petty Enterprises. You guys both know I have a gripe with Petty Enterprises.
You alluded to it last week on the pod.
I think we had a little
I think you and Eric
conversation about it. Yeah, and we agreed with it. You know what I mean? Because I had brought it up.
He ran the best equipment when nobody else had the money, and he did. They were running 2, 3, 4 races a week, and he's a compiler is what he is. I mean, not to take anything away from his talent, no offense. He is still the king.
It's just like doing steroids. You still got to work out, and you still got to put the time in the gym for them to work. You know what I mean? So you still have to be good behind the wheel to win those races. But he was essentially juicing back then.
He's like Barry Bonds,
right. And I know that's going to be unpopular. Like what we're saying is going to be unpopular to some people, but it's our opinion, and we're allowed to have it. And I've always thought that about Petty. Is that, like I said, he's the king. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's won 7 championships, but it was a whole different set of circumstances back then. I think what Jimmy Johnson did is a lot more impressive than what the
I agree 100%. I agree 100% with that. Not to take away from the king, like you said, not to take away. He still put the work in. Yeah, but he was juicing.
Yeah, right.
All right. Speaking of Hendrick Motorsports, Rick Hendrick said that sponsorship is coming along for Kyle Larson. Of course, after Kyle Larson's indiscretions last year, that was the big topic. Who would be the first sponsor to jump back on board? Of course, Kyle Larson has 2 wins, one this past weekend. And Rick Hendrick said the car's all paid for and budgeted out for this year, and sponsorship is already working itself out for next year. So very excited to see whose name and what brand will be on the Kyle Larson number 5 in 2022. Speaking of sponsorships, Michael McDowell, the Daytona 500 winner, got a whole bunch of new sponsorships this year because, of course, he's a Daytona 500 champion. But he says that's not going to change it. He's got some leverage to leave Front Row Motorsports. He says he wants to stay just where he is. That came out this past week. And an update on Brad. We talked about Brad Keselowski possibly moving to Roush. When he was asked if he would return to Penske in 2022, he said, quote, "I can't talk about that, but I appreciate you asking. When I can, I'll tell you." So that, to me, is just a big wink from Brad Keselowski that the paperwork's in the mail, just waiting on that old stamp of approval, some signatures and whatnot, and Brad's going to be going over to Roush Fenway.
Yeah,
there was a deal in play.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, I mean, even like even Bob Pockrass, who is as professional as they come in the NASCAR world as far as being a reporter, has pretty much all but said, like, this sounds like it's pretty solid. So, you know, I think everybody knows it. It just can't be officially reported yet, but it's the start of silly season. Once one domino falls, the rest are going to start going. So I love it.
Absolutely. I love it too. It makes it so exciting, especially as things break throughout the week. You know, we're in our group chat, text message and whatnot. I got to start tweeting more about these updates on the Twitter page. Follow us at Bump the letter N Run Pod on Twitter for more silly season updates as they come. You guys want to jump into the triple header weekend that was the Memorial Day weekend down in Charlotte?
Yes.
So we had the trucks on track. John Hunter Nemechek winning yet again, just proving again why it was such a good decision for him to leave that cup ride, kind of take a pay cut, go down to KBM, and if he doesn't win his championship this year, I'd be wildly surprised. How about you guys?
Oh, he's got to be the favorite. I mean, he has to be. I mean, Sheldon Creed, the defending champ too, but if your money's not on Nemechek right now, I don't know what you're doing because he is far and above the best out there so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this numerous times on this show, and, you know, I think it was the best decision. And I think more people should do what he did.
Yeah.
Is say, you know what, these people that are running in the back of the pack on Sundays, even running the back of the pack on Saturdays, hey, how about you go down to Friday, get in that truck where you have an opportunity to win. And, you know, could you imagine, instead of, like you were saying, Matt, there's only a select few of drivers in the trucks that, you know, have a shot to win that race and are going to be battling. Could you imagine if there was 10 or 12 trucks? And even in Xfinity, could you imagine if there was 12, 15 cars that are competitive every week that, like, you know, are battling for wins and make those series a little bit more interesting?
Yeah.
Because right now, I know focus is on the Cup Series, and that's what NASCAR, you know, wants the eyes to be on. But man, what's wrong with having, you know, the Xfinity be a great series to watch and have numerous battles? And I'm wondering if they don't want, you know, a lot of the storylines coming from the trucks and Xfinity, and they want most of them coming from the Cup, because, you know, why can't those series be just as good and promote them just as much as the Cup Series? You know, the trucks are different because they're a truck, you know. I just think I would like to see a lot more drivers that, you know, we all talk about them. Oh, opportunity. You know, if they were in this ride, a Hendrick or Gibbs, they could do well. Well, how about you go to a Hendrick, a Gibbs, or a Penske in Xfinity or in the trucks and compete there and be competitive.
Even
there.
if you just cut your teeth for a couple years, you know, go win races like Nemechek is doing. Eventually, a big time opportunity is going to open up in the Cup Series, where who are they going to think of first? The guys who are dominating in the trucks and Xfinity Series.
Exactly.
You know,
Not someone running fucking 28th every week in the Cup. Right. You know, they're going to go to the next talent that's winning, that's in the limelight, that has sponsorship.
Absolutely.
You know who comes to mind as the perfect model for exactly what we're saying right now is Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain
Yeah.
is one of those guys who runs every series every weekend. You know, if he has the opportunity to jump in a truck, he's going to jump in the truck.
Seat time, baby. Seat time.
He's all about it. And even we watched him a couple years ago. He switched where his points were declared mid-season to try to run for a championship. And I think that's a great thing, especially like you said, for some of those guys that might be struggling, maybe move down. Like, you know, we've seen it in the Xfinity Series this year. Ty Dillon moved down and he's running part-time, not having the greatest season when he's on track.
But he's also like, and to just touch on that for just a second too, because he's one of the people that popped into my mind too. Is it's hard to get rhythm when you're only running, you know, a part-time schedule too. Jump back down to the truck series. You know, your grandfather Richard Childress has the connections. Figure it out. I know sponsorship is a big thing. Go get that sponsorship and run a full schedule down there, and then get back into the rhythm because he's got the talent.
Marcus Lemonis won't put a sponsorship on a couple of his trucks or something. Right. You know, like. The sport is it's at a position right now where I think that move as far as going to the lower series, but to a top ride in that series, I think, I mean, I guess I should say I'm hoping more people look at, you know, John Hunter Nemechek's season and it clicks in their head like, hey, this is opportunity.
We have an option.
This is right. This is an option. This is how I get my name out. Like Xfinity always said, oh, where names are made. Yeah. And of course, Kyle Busch would win every week. He would go down there or whoever. And I'm like, what? Names are made. But, you know, now it's legit with all the rules that the Cup guys can't go down there. Make yourself a name instead of running 28th in the Cup Series on Sunday.
Speaking of someone who's making a name for themselves, well, his grandfather already kind of made a name for the family. One Ty Gibbs won the Xfinity Series race. And speaking of sponsorship, in a sponsorless car.
Get the broom out. Get the broom out because he won ARCA too.
ARCA. Yeah, he won ARCA.
Yeah.
And you want to know what? We were kind of texting back and forth a little bit. There's just something about Ty Gibbs that kind of rubs all of us the wrong way. But you can't deny the kid is talented. He's 18 years old. He has 2 Xfinity Series wins in 6 starts, maybe 8. I think it's only 6 starts. And he did it this week without a primary sponsor. Monster was not sponsoring him this week, which I was surprised. I guess they're only sponsoring him for a handful more races in the Xfinity Series race. And he said it after the race in his post-race interview. Hey, we won another one. There's plenty of real estate here. So I don't know if Gibbs is charging too much, but maybe talk to Marcus Lemonis and throw a Camping World sticker on that car too. Yeah,
right. Personal feelings aside, the kid's obviously got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And he has the momentum right now where every time he gets out in a car, he's one of the favorites to win the race. So there's a lot of steam building there for him. It's good to see a lot of these younger guys, like we were just kind of talking about with the trucks and Xfinity Series. NASCAR's in such a good place right now because there's so much talent. You know, maybe the rides on the back half of the packs aren't the best. And that's kind of a problem right now too. But as far as talent goes, there's so much talent, so much young talent out there. I think NASCAR's in a really, really good spot right now.
Yeah. It's kind of like you said, like there's too much talent for the lack of competitive cars, maybe. So like you said, maybe move down.
I think a lot of it is ego though. In any sport, we're dealing with athletes here, you know, as far as, you know, sports goes and teams go, and, you know, everyone wants to be the starter. Yeah. You know, everyone wants to be, you know, make it to the Pro Bowl, make it to the All-Star game.
You want to make as much money as possible.
Right. And, you know, there's a lot of people that deserve to go there, but, you know, they don't have the notoriety to make it. And, you know, other fans know their worth, but, you know, I think ego has a lot to do with too, like, everyone from a kid, you're coming through go-kart, from, you know, late model, you're coming up, you want to make it to Cup.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's like a big ego thing. And when you make it to Cup, you don't want to leave it. You feel like, oh, you want to stay there. But, you know, once I think you get over that maturity level, you know, these young guys trying to get to Cup, you're going to realize, hey, my best opportunity isn't in Cup. Yeah. Yes, eventually get there, like we're saying with Chastain, but, you know, I think ego has a lot to do with it in especially in any kind of competition sport. Ego is huge.
Oh
Sure.
yeah, I mean those guys all want to be the best every week, no matter
Right.
what, you know.
Hell, we were throwing crushed cans into a recycling container the other night here at the garage, and we were.
And I was heckling you.
Yeah, you guys are heckling me real hard. You want to know what though? I still made it in.
Whitey went 1 for 1. Matt, you were 0 for 1.
No,
Not a-
No.
wait a second. I went 1 for 2, and I was a lot further away.
I
But
went.
here-
True. That's why we heckled you, Whitey. You walked right up to it. And
No.
you
I
rebounded.
didn't walk right up to it. I did a little underhand. I tossed it like a frisbee, like I was throwing a frisbee. But I went 2 for 2 because I got one in the basement, and that one maybe you weren't paying attention, but I winged that son of a bitch across the room. So I made up for that original one in the garage.
But here's the larger point though, is like we're competitive and we're just talking about throwing freaking empty cans
Right.
into a container.
Oh, yeah.
So like and our pride is so high because here we are talking about if we missed it or made it or how close we were, how far we were. Like think about those guys making money, big lots of money,
Yeah.
doing this for a living. You know, the pride's
And then someone comes up and says, "Hey, you don't belong in Cup. You go down to Truck Series."
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, "What? Like,
Yeah,
no,
Get out of
like,
here! I'm
yeah,
staying right here.
right,
You know,
right.
I'd rather drive in the 40th place car than drive in, you know,
Yeah.
10th place in the trucks, which, well, you know, I think it would be better. Speaking of generational talents, though, a generational talent, I think, won this past weekend for the Coca-Cola 600.
I didn't win anything. Oh, sorry.
Kid makes one beer can in the garbage, and he's
Just bragging about championships. Kyle Larson won for the second time this season in another dominating performance. He started out on the pole and he led 7 times for 327 of the 400 laps. That was the Coca-Cola 600, sweeping all the stages. It was the Larson show on Sunday night in Charlotte. And honestly, you want to jump into the race grades? Because
let's do it. That's pretty much what we have here.
That's all we have. I'm gonna go first for once. I give the race a C. It was a bit of a stinker. I will give it an A for a basement party, though. It was one of those. It was one of those races where not a whole lot was happening, so you didn't really have to pay attention to the race too much, and we got to bullshit and hang out and crush some beers. Literally, and then toss them into a recycling can. Matt, what was your race grade for the Coca-Cola 600?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I gave it a C+. You know, Hendrick Motorsports dominated again. Biasly, that's good to see, but that's not why I gave it a C+.
Yeah.
There were some mid-pack battles. The race didn't seem to drag on like it tends to do. You know, it started
It felt like
right
it
around,
went a lot quicker than normal.
well, I was just going to say, it started around 6:30. It ended at 10:30. I remember looking at my watch, you know, seeing what time it was. It was 10:30. So that's a 4-hour race. Some of the 500-mile races last 4 hours.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that bad.
Well,
The PJ
we
won-
did have a big lack of cautions. We only had 4 cautions for 26 laps. That includes all the stage breaks. So
Yes.
it was a lot of long green flag runs.
Yeah. I thought the PJ1 worked a little bit, you know, made it a little more racy.
Yeah.
I just couldn't give the race anything higher than a C or C+ when the leader wins by 10 plus seconds, you know. Even if it's a popular win, like I think it was, at least for me it was, I couldn't give it any more than a C+. But I'll go hand in hand with you with the party. It was an A+ party.
Let's go, dude.
How about
A's
you?
all around for the basement party.
Yeah,
I love it.
hell yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, I could agree with you guys. I mean, I threw a little Coke 600 Memorial Day party up at my house this weekend, as I usually do. And, you know, the weather didn't turn out like we planned. Wanted to hang out in the garage and crush some garage beers and have a fire. But, you know, PA weather rains here all the time. That's just how it goes. So we moved it into the house, into the basement, old school. Little beer pong table set up, you know, felt like we were old, no college days down there. But, you know, we were having fun. And, you know, having the race on in the background was one of those Sundays. And, you know, that's not always a bad thing. You're going to have races where, you know, they're not so good.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's okay. Every race doesn't have to be, the most incredible race ever. And I think that's where the fans are getting misconstrued. And, it's just not every race is going to be oh my God, let's talk about this. But I'll give it a C as well, just because it follows suit of like Darlington, where I don't mind an ass whooping. I really don't. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. But, I appreciate the ass whoopings when they come. That just shows how, prepared they were and the talent that Larson is. But Kyle Busch said something after the race that kind of explained it a little bit. He goes, it's hard to pass when we're all going the same speed.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be one of those people that shit on packages or be the package guy. And, but this package this weekend, there's not a lot of off throttle time. So basically it's hard to pass when there's not a lot of off throttle time, when you have to control that coming in and out of the turns.
Yeah.
And, I think Kyle was a little irritated by that. With the dirty air, the cars were sealed to the ground a little bit more in this package. And, it was hard to, you could get to the guy, can't get around him. Like I said, I hate being a package guy, but it just seemed to not work out here on the day. Whether it be for weather, whether it be the PJ1, because sometimes you need certain conditions weather-wise for that to work.
That to activate and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a terrible race. We all, like I said, perfect race for what went on this weekend, as far as you two coming down and us getting together.
Yeah.
I love that, getting back together and bullshitting, and it ended up being a perfect race for that. So
you know what it was? It was a mini Pocono party, because everyone there, besides
pretty much going to Pocono.
People, it's gonna be camping at Pocono with us. So it was a great group, a fun group. One of the more underrated things too is what I like doing is watching a race with someone who's like maybe a fair weather fan or maybe not even a fan at all. So our buddy Kyle was
love
there.
When Kyle's there. He asks questions.
And he was asking questions, and I love answering them. And like that, he was asking, "Oh, what's that PJ1? What are they talking about?" And all three of us were kind of helping him understand that. And that's what it's all about, just educating people on the sport that we love. So I like that part of it.
Absolutely. And I just want to touch on something Eric said with the PJ1 and the package and stuff. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've noticed some trends. When it comes to PJ1, you do need a lot of heat to activate it and to get those lanes. I feel like PJ1 is best suited for hot day racing. And it's unfortunate that the PJ1 was on the track this past Sunday, because watching this package for the last 2.5 years, I feel like some of the best racing from this package has been on 1.5 miles in cool conditions at night. And I'm wondering if the presence of the PJ1 on the track kind of took away some of those lanes that would have been available, maybe been available to get some clean air on those cars and create more passing opportunities. Because over the couple of years, like I've noticed, like, the 2019 Kansas race, nighttime race, no PJ1. That package looked great. There was a lot of passing. We had a really good green white checker finish. And so I'm just saying, I think maybe PJ1 at night ruined the Coca-Cola 600 just a little bit.
I think it could be a lot. I think there's a lot of factors. I think, like I said, PJ1, the weather's a big thing, so they're going to put it down regardless. They're hoping the weather cooperates with it. And when it doesn't, you might get a dud of a race. But I saw someone tweeted, I don't remember who or what it was, but they said 2016 Charlotte race when Martin Truex Jr. won. He led 192 laps.
Yeah, 392.
There were only 4 cautions.
Yeah.
Right? There were only 4 cautions, same as on Sunday.
Yeah.
There were no stages in 2016. And, it was a low downforce package. And he dominated.
Yeah.
So, like, you have no PJ1, you have no stages, and you have 4 cautions.
They didn't have stages back then?
No, the only outlier was that is the low downforce. I think the wake and those cars going down, just being stuck to off throttle time is a big thing.
Yeah.
And Kyle Busch even said too, like, we're the same speed, but the runs that they're getting, once you get, it's all momentum based with that. And if you lose momentum, you're fucked. It takes 2 laps to get that momentum back.
It's like dropping an anchor.
Yes, but the problem I have with that is these runs that these cars are getting, when they come up to lap traffic, who's already running slow, almost off pace,
Kills
the gap,
the run.
It kills like that closing speed. And with these runs, I just don't think it works. I think we're figuring out that low downforce is not the way to go from this point forward. I think that off throttle, and they're starting to show it a little more. I think I think Jeff and, when Clint talks about it, and they might be asking for some of these things because this is what they're going to be talking about or what they want to talk about.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of pushing for more off throttle and less downforce. I guess I am a package guy now after I said all that.
That's okay. That's okay.
But you have a lot of good points there, especially when you look towards the past. And NASCAR fans tend to love to look towards the past, but it's so you could gauge it off of. And a lot of the drivers liked the strong motors where you really it was all about throttle control. You almost had to drive with an egg underneath your throttle pedal. And you gave it too much and you get super loose, stuff like that. And that was when we had, low downforce. So I think you have a point.
And
I just think it's a whole bunch of different factors all like kind of combining together,
But I think too, like when NASCAR, it's so different because I think you just have to come up with, and I honestly, I think we're almost there. I don't know what the next gen car is going to do. Let's just say the next gen car wasn't coming out and we're sticking with what we have. I think they've got a good grasp on, you can't have a perfect race everywhere you go. You can't have a package that's good forever because the tracks are so different. I think you have to come up with like a good
2019.
median. Yeah, you got to come up with a good median. Hey, some races are going to be the best you've ever seen. Some are going to be good races. Some are going to be, like we're like, okay, you can watch. It's a background race. And some are going to be straight up bad. But as long as more of those races fit in the top of that ladder, I think it's a win. I don't see you getting every race down as amazing race as every time. Hey, this is the package that works. It's not going to work everywhere. The tracks are so different. I think they just have to get a good grasp and keep most of the races in the upper echelon of that ladder where it's a good to a great race, you know? So,
right.
And sometimes you have a 1-2 baseball game or you have a 3-7 football game, they're not all barn burners when it comes down to the wire, What's up, Matt?
My first ever Penn State collegiate football game that I attended in person was Penn State versus Iowa.
Yeah.
The final score was 6-4, 2 field goals, 2 safeties.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, you got to take every race with a grain of salt, to be honest with you. Like if you really love racing, you're going to watch it every week and you're going to try to appreciate it for what it is. And you got to understand too, that, hey, they're trying. And this track, it didn't work. But what about last week when we were all hooting and hollering and having the time of our lives? You're going to have a dud maybe the next week or, so I just think fans need to relax a little bit, and just take it for what it is.
Absolutely.
Going off topic, just real quick, because Matt, when you brought up Penn State, so for people that might not know, Matt went to Penn State and his family and him are huge Notre Dame fans. Did that cause some turmoil in the Reilly household?
You know what? I never thought about that
until just now.
Yeah. You'll have to ask my dad about that. I will say every Friday in the fall on campus, I was that guy where I would wear my Notre Dame jersey.
Okay. Well,
and you know what? A little later in the show, I'm going to bring up your father too. So we'll get to your old man pretty soon.
Okay. I respect the fact that you wore a Notre Dame jersey every Friday, though. I think
it's in my blood, man. I have no choice.
All right, you guys want to get into the checkers and wreckers for this past weekend?
Let's do it.
All right, Matt. How about you? You want to give us your checkers first?
Yeah, so my checkers goes to, the vets who lost their lives defending our country.
Absolutely.
This last weekend was Memorial Day weekend. That's what it's all about. Those guys giving up the ultimate sacrifice is why we were able to throw frickin' crushed up cans at a
to a recycling
receptacle, So We wouldn't be able to do the things we do. You know, when we go to races like Pocono, we feel 100% completely safe because of them. So my checkers goes to them.
Absolutely. And that's the great thing about the Coke 600 too. Just all the pomp and circumstance, even if the race isn't that great. It's just
NASCAR does
enjoyable
the
as a
absolute
spectacle,
best
you know?
job saluting the troops. There's
Absolutely.
nothing. I know, you know, all the other, you know, stick and ball sports does it too, but not to the level that NASCAR does it. They do it, you know, the best. That's all. I'll just say that, you know, they do such a good job. They put these military guys on their cars. They salute them. They tell their stories throughout the Coke 600. It's one of my favorite parts.
Mike Joy nailed it out of the park too in you know, in the broadcast. He got a lot of love on Twitter for and some people wanted the transcript from what he said. And Mike Joy goes, listen, that was unscripted. I said that on the spot. If you want it, I'm sure our broadcast thing has recorded it. I'll put it out for you. But, you know, he got a lot of praise for, you know, for the way he worded it and what the, you know, Memorial Day is all about. And, you know, Mike Joy, always a class act. I got to give it up for him. And he really knows how to handle those big situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike Joy is all class and all professionalism. And
all
he
class.
always has been. He's one of my favorite broadcasters of all broadcasters, just in general. How about your records, Matt? What was the worst part of the weekend for you?
Well, it was hard for me to find an actual record. So for the millionth time, I'm gonna give it to Stewart-Haas Racing. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but a couple things that I picked up with them. One, there's guys like Ryan Preece, Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, and Michael McDowell all ahead of them in the points.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from those guys, but I just personally hold.
Where's Cole Custer at?
They're in the lower 20s, mid to low 20s. They're all in the mid to low 20s. Not to take anything away from those guys that I just said, because they're all fine drivers.
No.
But I personally hold Stewart-Haas Racing to a way, way higher standard. Just last year, I mean, and I'll say this as well. I'm keeping Kevin Harvick out of this for now. But even him, where has he been as far as the wins go? Stewart-Haas Racing was a perennial top 10 team, week in and week out, no matter where we went, no matter what track it was. And not only are they not that anymore, they're not even a top 15 or 20 team. They're almost always Cole Custer,
Chase Briscoe,
Eric Almirola, and Chase Briscoe are almost always in the 20s.
Yeah.
Almost always. Like
the low like the high 20s, like 27, 26, you know?
Yeah. And I just don't know what happened there. And I think, honestly, something major happened there. I'm not doing a tinfoil hat thing. I'm just going off of my gut instinct that something big happened there that no one's reporting on, whether it was, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know what it is, but something major happened there for that. Yeah.
I mean, it's been a revolving door if you think about it. That 41 with Suarez was in the 41 car. And then, then Kurt Busch comes on, and then Kurt Busch leaves. And then, like, they're just trying to fit in, but why aren't these drivers sticking? Is it something that is involved with Stewart-Haas, or is it these drivers that they're getting in the vehicles? I don't know, but I kind of agree with you, man. I think there's something, it's almost Roush Fenway-esque what's going on there.
Yeah, like a major fall off, you know?
A huge fall off. Like the biggest that I've seen, like from just year after year. I don't know. It's been bad.
I mean, hey, tinfoil hat. I'll go tinfoil hat here, man. You know, I'll put it on. Tony's trying to get that SRX series up. You know, maybe he's not really dedicating a lot of his time, maybe a lot of his knowledge. Maybe he's, you know, maybe in years past, he had a lot of input on the team and what they did and the setups they were going. Maybe he's not spending as much time with the team, and maybe he's letting the team and them kind of control the NASCAR portion while he's busy trying to start his own series.
He's trying to spin too many plates at one time, and it's just not working. Or I mean, that has to be what it is. But I don't know. Something's got to. It's to the point where, you know, I don't even think about them for when I'm setting up my fantasy lineup or doing DraftKings lineup. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. So I had to wreck them.
I just started using Kevin Harvick again for the fantasy team just because he is getting solid top 10s. Like Harvick's not doing as bad as people make it seem. He just hasn't gotten that first win yet.
But he also hasn't been going from winning 9 races last year to
that's an outlier though. Like you can't
but he's
compare
not even
last
contending
season.
he's not even he's won multiple races every year his whole career.
That's true.
And now he's not even a threat to win. Like he's not.
No,
he's not.
It's true.
He might get a 4th or 5th place, but he's not up there battling for first.
Yeah, he's not in the third, second picture battling for first. So I'll agree there. You know, I'm looking at the point standings right now. Besides Kevin Harvick, Chase Briscoe, the rookie, is the highest in points when it comes to Stewart-Haas Racing. He's in 25th. Cole Custer's in 27th. This is his second season. Now, they always say there's like, sophomore season slump. But when you look at the people that he came in with his rookie year, Tyler Reddick's doing really well. Christopher Bell's doing really well. He has a race at the Daytona Road Course. And Cole Custer, who made the playoffs last year, who snuck a win last year, is really struggling. And of course, the Eric Almirola story, where he's 28th in points, and you're lucky
I think
if
it's
he
a
completes
Stewart-Haas issue, not a driver issue. I think those drivers are all eligible. We've seen what all of those drivers are capable of doing. I think this is definitely, like Matt said, I think this is a major thing at Stewart-Haas.
Yeah. And to your point, like I brought up the rookies for a reason. When they all moved up together, I thought Cole Custer was going to perform more consistently than all of them. I know a lot of people were really pushing Christopher Bell to be like this phenomenal rookie, and of course I have I'm pulling for Reddick every single week, but in my heart of hearts, I thought Cole Custer was going to be the one that was really going to break out from those three, and this season he's not. So it's got to be something going on. Maybe there's some turmoil between competition directors and whatnot, or like you said, it could be Tony Stewart, who has a lot of coals in the fire right now with his personal life. He just got engaged recently. He's working on a new series with CBS and Ray Everham with SRX. And who knows? He's got Eldora. Maybe he's just got too many coals in the fire, and the SHR coals are kind of
hold on.
Eric's making a drink here.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I had my earbuds in this week. My headset wasn't working. I'm trying to get new ice for my drink right now, and it melted a little bit. I poured too much water in my whiskey glass. I had to hurry up, dump my glass out the window.
I thought it was almost perfect timing, because here's Whitey talking about coals in the fire. It sounded like you were stoking coals there.
Yeah.
Oh no, dude! I'm trying to break up my ice bucket here so I could replenish
priorities.
My liquor drink here.
Well,
but that
you gotta freshen up that drink. You need whiskey stones.
He knows he's next for the checkers and wreckers, so he wants to prepare himself.
All right, Eric, what was your checkers and wreckers for this weekend?
Right, so my checkers goes to somebody that I wrecked numerous times this year.
Yeah.
For something that he actually accomplished. My checkers goes to Larson for finally finishing and closing a race out, dude. I wrecked him so many times for not getting it done.
Yeah.
Right there, has an opportunity to win, excluding the Bowman one pit crew. That wasn't his fault, but I'm going years past. He just was second place so many times. Opportunities to win, just doesn't get it done.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give my checkers to Larson. And I was going to give it to Hendrick too for the all-time win thing. We already kind of covered that, to just throw that in there as a little extra thing for Larson. But go ahead, Matt.
Real quick, because you just said you had like an honorable mention. I'm sorry, I skipped over this. I also have an honorable mention, checkers.
Okay.
It's got to go to Eric's mini hot dogs wrapped in everything bagel. Oh my God, man. Those were phenomenal. Those were phenomenal.
I'm giving that my honorable mention for wreckers because it's mostly my fault. I wasn't paying attention. I thought they were done and they weren't. I ate a raw one.
Oh no!
So the hot dog was good.
Oh, such a way!
No!
I was so drunk and hungry. You know when you're drunk and hungry, you're ready to eat anything. And I saw the tray and I'm like, oh, sick. We got pigs in a blanket. And I grabbed one. I bit into it. I'm like, oh my God, this is all dough. It's all dough.
Hey, you looked right at me. And you go, oh, this one isn't done. I go, dude. I go, they're not cooked. I said, I got 2 trays in the oven. They're not done. He finished it anyway, like a true savage. He popped the other half.
He finished it. Yeah. I wasn't gonna let it go to waste. Please.
It's just a hot dog. It's just a little mini hot dog, little cocktail wiener, and never hurt nobody.
Yeah, I didn't get, at least
our troops didn't give up their lives for you to not finish that hot dog.
Yeah, exactly. I did it for the troops.
Oh my God, I forgot about that one. I totally forgot about that. That was great.
All right. So did you do your honorable mention checkers?
Yes.
Okay.
My honorable mention was just the Hendricks thing. We talked about that. My Wreckers, we talked about that as well. Was just the package didn't work. Just the whole, it was just a miss at this racetrack. But my honorable Wreckers, it goes to Big Mark Reilly for not coming in and having a beer with the Bump and Run boys when he sure as hell could have came in and cracked a cold one with the Bump and Run boys. He's our biggest fan. He's also our biggest critic. Mm-hmm. And I thought after last week's show, he had my back. He might have came in and, gave a little cheers for the boys.
I was expecting like a ball busting in person or something,
Yeah.
You know what? He should have. I didn't even think about it, because he was my DD. He dropped me off. So he can get home and crack open his own beer. So he should have came in. You're right. He'll make up for that. I promise you he'll make up for that.
And I know he's listening too. So he's probably bitching at me right now as he's listening to this.
Oh, well, you didn't invite me in.
Yeah.
Love you, Mark. Love you.
And always thanks for the feedback and the criticism. It helps make the show better every week. And we hope you're enjoying this show this week. My checkers and wreckers for the weekend, just got to give it up to Chevy. A Chevy heavy top 10 all through, all 400 cars in the top 10, both RCR cars in the top 10. I think a lot of people aren't giving as much love to RCR as I think they deserve. They've been very consistent the last 10 weeks or so, and I'm loving every minute of it. My wreckers, something that didn't happen on track or even in Charlotte, it was the weather in PA. It was 55, cold and rainy. We were hoping, like we said, Eric was throwing his party. We were hoping to hang out in the garage. He's got that dartboard out there. We got the big TV and the big bar, and then have a bonfire.
Ton of yard games.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't even think about it. Until right now. Eric, the weather is our fault, man. We were getting together for a race.
Oh, yeah.
Whether we're at a track or not.
Every time we get together for a race.
Whether we're at a track or not. Yeah.
Shit. Yep.
Damn it.
You're right. Yeah.
Damn it.
Hey, maybe Pocono. We
got it out of the way. We got the bad weather out of the way.
Matt, like I said, I have your camping ticket right here. Maybe I'll give it to Mark instead. I'll give it to Mark instead. We'll bring your dad. Hopefully he brings the sunshine down with him.
That's right.
But yeah, and like we said, the race was kind of a snooze fest, a little boring. So let's jump into the last place. Everywhere, every NASCAR podcast talks about the winner. Here on the Bump and Run podcast, we like to highlight the last place person, and it was someone we kind of talked about earlier. It was one Kurt Busch. Like we said, he had his engine expire early on in the race, and he's just having a rough season so far. I think this is the second time he's been in the last place highlight on the Bump and Run podcast. I think he joins a rare group with Eric Almirola, who also has 2 last place positions, and one Quinn Houff, who also has 2 last places this year. So some company.
I'll tell you what, Kurt Busch, I'll throw a little something in there because we touched on him in the beginning of the show, and maybe since this year has been such kind of a shitty year for him, bad luck. He's still a great driver. I really do believe that. Won a race last year. So maybe since it's such a bad year, maybe he
doesn't want to go out, and he
doesn't want to go out. Yeah. So maybe since this is such a bad year, maybe that is what aligns him going to another team as 23-11, like we mentioned.
I think that's really possible.
Justin Haley was another one. 2 times he finished last.
Oh yeah. Okay. So a lot of repeat last place people. Kurt Busch, unfortunately, one of them this week. You guys want to jump into the Pickle Lane segment?
Let's do it.
I think so. Originally, the pick a lane, we were gonna battle.
Do I put my gloves on, Whitey, or what? Are we good this week? Are we good this week, or what? I'll leave the gloves off. I'll leave the gloves off. I'll leave them off.
I don't know. We'll see. I have a feeling that we're all kind of gonna agree on all these segments. So maybe I will play devil's advocate and maybe not put on the boxing gloves, but maybe the snow mittens. So I'm going to throw out a topic. The choose cone is out. You can choose which way you want to go with this. We have the final Pro Invitational iRace coming up this Wednesday. It's a Chicago street circuit that kind of caused a little controversy last week. And I just have to say, for a sport that started on the beach and road of Daytona, going back to a road course, I think is the biggest route NASCAR could touch on, but that's not what I want to discuss right now. So the iRacing Pro Invitational is going to the street circuit in Chicago. Are we over the Pro Invitational series? Are we over watching iRacing on TV? For people that might not know, last year during the pandemic, everything shut down and we did the best we could. We put iRacing events on Fox every week, and it helped keep that void, and I think it did a great job, and it served its purpose last year. Do you guys think this year it's kind of just over it, or do you think it's still a good way to bring new fans into the sport who might like video games and might want to check out a real race?
I'll take this one. And before I shit on it, because I'm going to,
yeah,
I will say this: it did 100% help me personally through the pandemic. As far as like, I mean, obviously we love this sport. Obviously we love this sport, right? When they took it away from us, and I know it's a petty thing compared to everything, you know, people lost lives and all that throughout the pandemic. But when they took NASCAR away, it broke my heart, man. It was a huge void. And when they put that iRacing on, I dug it for a while, you know, week in and week out. When they put they run like 7 or 8 races or something.
However many weeks we were off. I think we were off for like 10 weeks or something. I think they did like 7 or 8. I think the first week they couldn't, and then so
however many it was, I mean, it helped. But then we got back to racing, right? We got back to actual real life racing.
Yeah.
And they just continued with it, which is fine. Like we've mentioned before, you know, with sponsors and stuff, there is money to be had in that. But
absolutely,
I personally could not care less about iRacing.
Yeah.
The Pro Invitational iRacing. iRacing itself is a really, really cool entity that I want to get a part of, be a part of like later on down the road. But as far as watching it on TV, man, no, I'm good. I'm good.
I'll keep this simple. In my notes I have, and I'll read it right now. Not a prayer I watch any more iRaces.
Yeah.
It's trash.
That's
what I put down in my notes.
Yeah.
Like, because the drivers don't even take it seriously anymore. Like, look at Alex Bowman every week. Forgets to turn his fucking computer on, like giggles about it. He's fucking Snapchatting like, oh, maybe I won't make it to the race this week. Oh, whoops, I was petting my dog when I was supposed to be pitting. Whoops, my bad. Like, they don't even give a shit anymore. I mean, it's something that they're obligated to do. I get that, you know, from sponsors, and certain people have to run. It's a fun thing to do. Don't get me wrong. If they do midweek iRaces, I might tune in, but it's gotta leave it a gimmick.
Yeah.
Don't take the seriousness out of it. Leave it a gimmick. Leave it a gimmick. Leave it like anyone that's gonna play iRacing. You could smash and derby. Do it for the content. I think it's good content, but as far as me watching it or bringing any new fan, no. I think as content, it could be something midweek, but I'm done with it.
I won't go out of my way to watch it. And even if there's nothing else to do, which is a rarity in my life anymore, I'll put it on. But at the very most, it's background noise.
But I will still give credit. I will still give credit to Eric Jones for winning the first race in the next gen car.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, of course. He's the first next gen winner. I agree with you guys. I was really happy about it last year because
you're an iRacing customer though.
Yeah,
Whitey.
I subscribed to the service. I ran a couple races before we start recording this podcast in the trucks. Eric, you do not want to do a whole bunch of bumping and wrecking in iRacing. People take it very serious. I accidentally got on someone's bumper today, and he cussed me out real hard. But I put him into
a listener.
I put him into the wall. Oh, he was real mad at me.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if they know it's a gimmick, like if they know it's just going to be an hour of just content,
make it a gimmick or take it serious. Don't do it in between where you have Joey Logano racing in his dress shoes and just being real silly.
Because I think it is in between right now. Yeah. I think it is.
No, they could never, and I agree with you, Eric. Like it would be fun to make it a gimmick, but they can't. And the reason why is the money behind it, man. Yeah. Those sponsors don't want to see you guys running into each other. Those sponsors want to go see their guy win, whether it's virtually
that's my thing,
or
though,
in
Matt.
real life.
I don't think sponsors should be involved in the iRacing.
I agree.
Like, I think let it be fucking iRacing. Let it just be like let the drivers make their own paint scheme. Let them do that. Like have like a charity for like, hey, design Martin Truex Jr.'s paint scheme for iRacing this Wednesday, and have like get kids involved that way. Hey, because it's easier to put a digital paint scheme on a car than it is to do it in real life. Yeah. So this way you get kids involved still by doing little things like that. And it's still gimmicky in a way. Like NFL.
That's a whole nother
Whitey, I don't know. I don't know if you did this, Whitey, but like the NFL did a Nickelodeon broadcast.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic.
So if they do something like that with the iRacing where it's like, hey, get the younger kids involved. Do it Nickelodeon style. Yeah. Design a paint scheme.
Put
design
on
a race.
The cars and stuff.
Right. Design a race, or you know what I mean? Like
race under Bikini Bottom.
Right. So like, I think that would be a way to go with iRacing. I don't think taking it seriously is the way to go.
Yeah.
We already have too many fans bitching about the real thing. I don't need it in video games now.
No, I agree. And Matt, like you said, it's
I can hear my dad right now. I can hear my dad right now thinking to himself, what the hell is Bikini Bottom? It's from SpongeBob.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Mark. No, I completely agree, especially too what you said, Matt. Like, if anything, it's background noise. If I remember to even tune it in, the only reason why I even brought it up in this podcast today was because I saw the schedule for tomorrow after Race Hub. I'm like, oh, there's Pro Invitational. I didn't even realize. So I figured I was over it. I want to see if you guys were over it as well. Let's see. The Morning Drive on Sirius XM asked fans if they would want to see the 600 move to Monday, Memorial Day proper. Do you think we should move it to the Monday afternoon or keep it a Sunday night race after the Indy 500?
Well, after this weekend, only, I'll take it Monday.
Yeah.
Better day weather-wise here.
Absolutely.
For the party, for everyone. It would have been a great day. But I say no just for the pure fact that we had a basement party. We're crushing beers. We're eating mini hot dogs. We can't do that on a work night or a school night.
No, then you got to take Tuesday off too.
Yeah. So I think you keep it on that Sunday. It's a good time that I know for us, we always try to get our friends to watch the sport and get involved.
Yeah.
So on an opportunity, where a Sunday where you have Monday off, there's an opportunity for new fans for us to bring into the sport. Like Matt alluded to earlier, our buddy Kyle, he's a fan, but he's not a diehard fan. He's still, very, novice as far as knowing.
I think the funniest thing about Kyle's been to multiple races. He's been to Pocono a couple times. He's gone to the Daytona 500 with us 2 years in a row. But I don't think he watches anywhere in between. Like, he goes to live races and he sees it when we have it on at parties and stuff.
And he loves it.
And he enjoys it, but it's not, I'm sitting down and tuning in every week. And I just think it's funny because we have fans that sit down and tune in every week and they've never been to a live race before. And Kyle's kind of the opposite. He's definitely an outlier.
That's what a Sunday night on an extended weekend does. It allows those people to enjoy a race with people that are knowledgeable about it, that could answer questions that they might have. So I think keep it on Sunday for as long as you can, for sure. Leave Monday as the rest day, because then I always have a rest day of my weekends. When I go to Pocono, if it runs to Monday, I go
Earbud down,
and, you know,
earbud
you gotta
down.
take that day.
Yeah.
Headphone down, dude. The Jim Beam's kicking in.
I'll jump in. I mean, for the love of God, please, please, please don't ever move it to Monday unless it's a frickin' rain postponement. Tradition is a huge, huge part of our sport, and I'm all for change. We had this conversation with the group of us during the party on Sunday. I'm all for change. We have to embrace it because it's going to happen one way or another. But there's certain things in NASCAR
that you just don't mess with.
You cannot mess with it, man. And Memorial Day Sunday is typically, because F1 messed with tradition this year, where you wake up, you watch the Monaco Grand Prix with F1.
Yeah.
That moves right into the Indy 500 for the IndyCar series, which moves right into the Coca-Cola 600, and it's a full day event of racing. You get 3 different series, 3 different styles, and it makes for the best day of racing of the year. And NASCAR would be out of their mind to move it. I don't see it ever happening.
No, I agree, especially when it comes to tradition. You know, you think Indy 500, you think Coca-Cola 600, same day. Again, Monaco. It's one of the greatest days for motorsports. The only reason I could see it moving to Monday is maybe to get it out of the shadow of the dates or of the Indy 500. I feel like the Indy 500 gets all the press on Monday and Tuesday. And
Same weekend, though, it's not going to matter whether it's the day before or day after. I think no matter what, if it's the same weekend, I think you're going to grade it. Like I said, I think, you know, the Coca-Cola 600 was going to get a shitty grade if the Indy 500 is a good race.
Yeah.
And, you know, this Indy 500 was a good race.
Absolutely.
So I think they're going to compare
the best Indy 500 I've ever seen. Right. It was amazing.
So like that race is going to compare. They're going to compare that to the Coke 600 that happened afterward.
Yeah,
and it's night and day. And Matt, I agree. I watched that Indy, and it was just a phenomenal race. I really enjoyed that race, and you know it's always going to get compared whether they run it the same day or the same weekend, different day. I don't think that'll matter. I think Indy though, like headline wise, is always going to get. You know,
and you know what? As they should. It's their quote unquote Super Bowl. It's the most famous race of any type of racing in the world.
Oh yeah,
the Indy 500. So they should get the domination of press.
What number Indy 500 was this? Was this like the 110th, 111th? What do you remember? What the specific number was?
You know what? No, I just know that.
Regardless, they've been running the Indy
fourth win. I know that
they've been running the Indy 500 for 100 years. You know, it's the big race. I think for some reason Matt's screen froze up. Matt, can you hear us?
I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It just must be something in the video feed. The audio feed will be fine. So we have a race in Sonoma this week, Sonoma, California, and it's a 4 p.m. start. How late is too late to start a race that isn't a scheduled night race?
4 p.m. That's it. This is the latest you go.
Yeah.
Without a schedule. Yeah. This is any later than 4. It's just a night race. Make it 7 o'clock, and just it is what it is. Like I think we all know how we feel about these start times. Yeah.
I'll stay consistent with what I've been saying all year. I think anything after 2 p.m. is too late.
I think 2:30 is too. I think 2:30 should be the cutoff. 4 p.m. is absolutely ridiculous.
That's ridiculous, dude. You know? It's absolutely insane, man. It's insane.
We've said it a million times. You know, look at just said. You know, we were just talking the Indy 500. Let's keep the thoughts and prayers to all those people on the West Coast that had to watch the Indy 500 at 9:30 a.m. because there was a huge drag on them.
Yeah.
The biggest race in the world, the Indy 500 started at 12:30. You're telling me NASCAR can't get these things started by 1 p.m.? I don't think so.
Well, that's what I said. NFL, 1 o'clock games, and they stick to it. They have no problems. You know what I mean? How is it that they get viewership no matter what at 1 o'clock? Like I would love to know the data that NASCAR is looking at that says like more people are going to watch at 3:30 rather than 1 o'clock. Like it just seems crazy because people bitch so much on the internet about these late start times. It seems to me that it's the opposite. I just think NASCAR is putting on this front and they're saying this data and they're saying this and they're saying that. This is my tinfoil hat on again, like I always do. But I just think this is bullshit.
I don't even want to know the data behind it. I just want to know when the race is consistently. I want a consistent start time
every
so
week.
I don't have to look it up every week.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when it's going to be. 3:15, 3:10, 4:20. 1 week it was like 3:17 was green flag start time.
Oh yeah,
3:17.
Oh, and that's the thing. The race starts at 3:30. Green flag's at 3:47.
Oh yeah.
You know? How about we have a green flag at 3:33? You know?
Right.
They proved it. They do it with the truck series. Day.
They do it with the truck series and the Xfinity series.
Do all that stuff during the pre-race show.
Yes. I don't know why it drives me nuts.
There's no reason why you have to have the prayer. What do they call it? Well, what's it actually called?
The prayer. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's got a name to it. But they do that. They do the national anthem. They have the gentlemen or drivers start your engine. Do that during the pre-race show. Have that go off at 3:20, 3:30. The cars are leaving pit road and they're doing their pace lap and the green flag drops at 3:33. Yep. Like if you're doing a 3:30 race, start it at 3:30. You know, and let's just get consistent. I don't understand. It's every single. It's not like oh, we have to wait for such and such show to end because they're on from 1 to 3.
The only thing you need to go live to
because
is legitimately the national anthem and the flyover. After that, the start your engines, national anthem, flyover. Those three things are the only thing that I need as a fan. Give me that. I mean, what you're talking about? Like when they'll bring the pastor up for the invocation.
Invocation. That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah. So like when the pastor comes up for that, it's like, okay, I could get that. That's 4. The pastor comes up for the invocation. You do the national anthem. You have the flyover and you have to start the engines.
Yeah.
Go.
Put those in the last 10 minutes of the pre-race show.
Yeah. And
that way
as a fan, if you want to catch that stuff, you have to tune in a little early.
Okay. I could see that.
Honestly, because I enjoy the pomp and circumstance of every race in the beginning and stuff. But when I have a lot to do on a Sunday, I check Bob Pockrass. I see what time that green flag is, and I run around, and I'm usually pulling into the driveway listening to all that stuff so I can run into the house and see the green flag drop. And usually I just make it like barely in. So
that's on you though.
Well, yeah, but like I'm just saying,
Whitey, come on, don't try. This is all on you.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like personally, I do that math to try to figure out what. So if I knew, if I have to be home at 3:30 because it's going to start at 3:30. The race starts at 3:30, but I could be home at 3:45 because you know what I'm saying.
Whitey, I think your point is basically, I don't want to have to look.
Yeah, give us some consistency.
For 26 races, I don't want to have to Google what time is the green flag today. I don't want to have to Google that. You should know.
It's bad enough that we have to figure out between 4 different channels which one it is, whether it's going to be Fox, FS1, whether it's going to be NBC or NBC Sports. Yeah, and then it gets moved to another station.
It goes to FS1. It goes to, you know what I mean? It's all over the place.
It could end up on MSNBC, cutting into the nightly news over there. It happened last year. People were flipping out.
USA. It was on USA last year for a race or two.
Like Matt, like you said, tradition. I think that's a thing for me when I started watching this, which is not that long ago. I'm a fairly new fan, but it was 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
It was 1 o'clock.
Yeah, but that was even a decade. That was
a decade ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's 1 o'clock. Like just do 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like I knew when the race was. It's 1 o'clock. Everyone knew what time it was. 1 o'clock.
You want a little bit later? Drop the green flag at 2:15. You know?
Yeah.
All right. The final pick a lane for today. Choose Cone is out, and we're in Phoenix because Phoenix announced that they will have the championship race returning in 2022. Should we stick with it, or do you think we should go back to Homestead, or do you think we should go to a different track altogether?
Okay, I'll take this because I kind of think I'm going to be a little different here from what you guys are going to go with.
All right.
So we have Homestead, right, where we've been running the final race.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, let's give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now we go to Phoenix.
Mhm.
I think just like anything, I could attribute this to now Matt will have a little better understanding of this. In the NFL, when a team gets a new head coach, I believe you need to give that coach at least 3 years to really turn that team to his team, to really put his stamp on what it is. You can't get rid of him too soon.
Yeah.
So I feel the same way with these championship races. If they're willing to move them, don't do knee-jerk reaction and move them too soon.
Yeah.
I think you gave Homestead many of years. Phoenix, I say you give them a few years.
Okay.
Now, whether that be 2 years or 3 years, it doesn't matter, but I think it should always be more than just 1 year.
All right. Yeah.
That's my opinion on it.
Okay. As far as that goes, I'll agree with you that you need to give it time, especially last year, right? With the pandemic, they didn't really get the fair shakedown. I actually listened to the announcement today on Sirius XM, which is where the track president and I'm sorry, I forget her name. She made the announcement on Sirius XM and they interviewed her after. And she was saying how they had all these things planned for the championship week leading into the championship weekend,
and they didn't get
they didn't get to do any of that with COVID, and so they have big plans for this year, and they want to even grow on that for next year. So that part of it, I do understand, and we've got to give them that fair shakeout to see how that works out. But for me personally, and I voiced my opinion about this before, is like I personally don't like the on-track product at Phoenix.
Yeah.
I haven't for quite some time. So I was a little less than satisfied about that news, but I understand why they're doing it. I'll say that.
Okay.
I personally thought that Homestead was the perfect destination for the final race. It's a racy 1.5 mile track. There's a lot of comers and goers. And it's down in Miami or right, south of Miami, where it's still beautiful weather in November. Not that obviously Phoenix also has beautiful weather in November.
Yeah.
I just really, really liked it's on the East Coast, which is close enough for the NASCAR community to get down to because they're out of Charlotte. So I just liked all that about it.
Yeah.
My personal feelings.
The track president is Julie Geis too.
Yes.
That's her name. I'm kind of in between because, like Matt said, I'm not a big fan of the racing at Phoenix either. But like Eric said, sometimes you got to let something shake out, and we have a new car coming out next year,
right?
That we have no idea how it's going to drive on short tracks compared to the rules package and car we have this year. So maybe, and fingers crossed, maybe next year's Phoenix race with the next gen car might be one of the best, season finales and final races that we see. I don't want to put a whole bunch of hype behind it because we have no idea. It's a complete unknown. But yeah, I agree. I think we should give it one more year, see how the next gen car shakes out. And I'd be even happy moving it to another track, maybe have the final race at the same track for a handful of years and then it moves. I would like to see
there's only and I agree with that, but there's only
because
like a handful to
because
pick
of
from
weather-wise.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, next track we could go to is Las Vegas. They're tearing down Auto Club in California, and they're going to be building a short track. Maybe have the finale at the new short track they're building in California. I don't want to get too crazy and say maybe run a road course, but you could do Sonoma.
Please,
yeah,
God,
no.
Hey, listen, you guys know I love road courses, but not for a championship race. You got to keep it. You got to keep it where the ground roots are for the championship race.
I agree. And you want to know what? Honestly, I think after this year, we might want to pump the brakes on road courses. I think 7 is way too many. But I'm just saying, we could have did it at the Daytona road course. I personally think Homestead is one of the best 1.5 miles we have. And I love the vibe of Homestead.
I think it would be a dumb move to even like I know what I just said, you got to keep it at the ground roots of where NASCAR is from, but I even think it'd be stupid to have it at Talladega or Daytona just because
it just too much unknown.
It's a crapshoot. You can't.
I agree.
Form of racing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see it on a super speedway at all, just because even like the same reason people have hesitations of having Talladega in the playoffs, where, it's too easy for the top 4 guys battling out for a championship to end up in a big one. All right, that's all we have for Pickle Lanes. Let's move into next week. Of course, we mentioned it earlier. We're heading out to California to wine country. We're going to do a little road racing in Sonoma Saturday. The Xfinity Series race, though, is going to Mid-Ohio. So we're splitting the weekend between two different states and two different tracks. Xfinity Series is going to be at the B&L Transport 170 at Mid-Ohio. That goes down 1 p.m. on FS1. And then Sunday, the Cup Series is going to be at the Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma Raceway, 4 p.m. on FS1. Going to be a late start on Sunday. Hopefully it is a quick race. No practice in qualifying this week. We're back to the old formula, and Bob Pockris has the unofficial Cup lineup rounding out the first row. According to his math, it is subject to change. Is one Kyle Larson and his teammate Chase Elliott in second. William Byron, Denny Hamlin making out row 2. Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon making out row 3. Alex Bowman and Kevin Harvick making out row 4. And rounding out the top 10, ninth place is Brad Keselowski. And my boy Tyler Reddick rolling off in P10 in Sonoma. He's been putting in some practice on the road courses. Eric is getting ready to make his pick, and he chugged his glass of whiskey there, so we're getting down to the end of the show. Matt, do you have some Sonoma stats for us?
I sure do. So, like I always do, I took stats from the last 4 races. Now, we didn't run there last year because of COVID. California had some strict restrictions, so we didn't get there last year. So the last 4 winners was going all the way back. We'll go back to 2016, where it was Tony Stewart. Then 2017, it was Harvick. And then in 18 and 19, they were both claimed by Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah.
So a couple things that I thought were interesting. First off, you pointed out that it starts at 4, and I sent you guys these stats earlier. Each of the last 5 or 6 years that we ran at Sonoma, they all were right in the wheelhouse of 2 hours and 45 minutes run time. So we should be probably wrapping up about 7 o'clock. So that's not the awful news.
Terrible.
That's couple other things. The last 2 times, I dug into Sonoma a little bit because I was just curious about a couple things. The last 2 times we raced here at Sonoma, in 2019 there was only 2 cautions, and in 2018 there was only 3 cautions, not counting the stage end cautions.
Yeah.
So this race does seem to get strung out as far as the cars, the packs, the cars on the track. And then another thing that I thought was super interesting, and I want you guys everyone to keep this in mind when making your picks, is in the 31 Cup races that we have run here, 22 wins have come from a starting position inside the top 10.
Okay.
And 9 times the win came from the front row. So if you're a Larson or Elliott fan, that bodes well for you. As far as the average finishes inside the top 10 in the last 4 races, Harvick has the best with a 3.8 average finish. Kyle Busch with a 4.8. Denny Hamlin with a 5.3. Kurt Busch with a 9.0. And then Martin Truex Jr. has an average finish of 11th. But like I said, he did win the last 2 races.
That's
there.
a lot higher than I thought it would be.
The only reason why is because in 2007 he DNF'd and finished 37th. So that obviously dropped his average down. Laps led, it's Martin Truex Jr. just dominates, 146 laps led. The next closest is Harvick at 62 laps led, so he more than doubled second place there. And then we're going into the picks. Use those stats as you wish, gentlemen. I'm going last for the first time in a while.
No, so
wow.
So I think this week I'm gonna change up how we pick, because I realized, so every week the winner of the last week gets to pick first, and I feel like and I won last week, so this is not me being biased to help myself out or anything. I think the person that came in last should go first from now on, just to help be able to dig people out of the hole.
Yeah, we talked about it at the party.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it, and I agreed. I think that it's kind of like a snake draft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you kind of go back and forth with it. I agree.
So with that being said, Matt picked Martin Truex Jr. last week. He got 12 points. He had a tire issue that kind of ruined his day. Finished in 27th place, 28th place this past weekend. Eric came in second with Chase Elliott. He got 53 points. I picked Kyle Larson to win. And of course, Kyle Larson did win, and he dominated all the stages. He got him 60 points. Just so you know, a little brag, a little pat on my own back. That is the third time that I've picked a correct winner this season in 15 races. So if you're betting money on my picks, I'm glad you're making money, but I wouldn't do it.
1-800-GAMBLER if you have any problems.
1-800-GAMBLER. But so let's get into it. Matt, you could go first. And even before you pick, when you were going through all those stats, that Martin Truex Jr. one really surprised me because I felt like he dominated here. I feel like Sonoma is his road course. So I'll be interested to see who you pick.
Well, you threw me off because, candidly, you're right. Now that you mentioned it, I remember us having that conversation. But up until you mentioned it, I did not remember we had that conversation.
Good old brown out, baby. Love
it.
You
know what? It wasn't even a thing. We didn't have the conversation at the party. We had it through the text messages on like Thursday.
Oh, well, see.
So
see, again, I don't even know.
Maybe
my brain is a wet noodle. Dude. I don't know.
Maybe it was after work though, and both you guys were dipping into the booze to relax after a long day.
Could have been. Okay, well, regardless, this threw me off. I was expecting to go third. Oh, God.
I had my pick regardless, so this is no skin. I know none of you guys are going to go who I'm going with, so go ahead.
Okay.
Pick all you want there, Matt.
You bastard. Are you taking Willie B?
I don't know.
All right, he's going to take Willie B. You know what? Low-hanging fruit. I need to make up some ground. He disappointed me last week. I'm going to take him again this week. Hopefully he redeems himself. Martin Truex Jr. wins at Sonoma.
You think he's going to come powering from the back of the pack?
Oh, shit. I went out against my own stats. Where's he starting? He's starting
I don't know. I only looked up the top 10 this week. I don't know. He's probably starting pretty far back
way
there.
Back. Yeah, he probably is. Yeah, I'm sticking with him, Martin Truex Jr.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that matters, Matt. I don't think that matters,
especially for him.
Yeah,
I don't think it matters where he starts. He's gonna make his way up into the top 10 regardless. All right, Eric, where are you going? Who are you picking? Is it old Willie B for the 5th time?
It is not old Willie B, and once again, I got my balls thoroughly busted this weekend about my Willie B fandom of recent. But I am not going with William Byron. I'm going with one who he was upset about last week, had a good car, has been gradually getting better and better. And I think he's calming down behind the wheel, and him and his crew chief are finally starting to mesh a little bit. And, as far as Hendrick goes, we talked about them dominating, and, I would be keen to take Willie B here, but not the team, but the guy that's been hot on their heels as far as Hendrick and competing with them, and he competed all day during that 600 miles, was that 18 car.
Yep.
I'm going with Kyle Busch.
You want to know what? I think that's a great pick. I thought he was doing really well in COTA, obviously, until
he's good on the road course, and I just think he's due. He's just running really well right now. And he has a little chip on his shoulder because Hendrick is dominating. He hates that.
Yeah,
he hates being beat. And I think he wants to take away from the best road course racer we have out there right now, which is Chase Elliott. So I think Kyle Busch has something to prove. I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm saying I think he has a great opportunity.
He hates being beat specifically by that organization, too.
Yep.
There's some history there.
There's some bad blood. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not too long ago, he was in that 5 car, and you could tell it still bothers him. So I am... Well, now I'm torn. Listening to Matt's stats with the finish position, the starting position dictating the finishing position, and you have Chase Elliott right there, coming off a win at COTA.
I'll tell you what, Whitey. You know who I almost went with?
Yeah.
And I thought about the battle that he had with Tony Stewart.
Denny.
Yes.
Yeah.
To get his first win, I thought about going Denny this week, but I just think Kyle's got the bigger chip. But Denny, dude, that battle he had, look at
Denny was my first pick.
Yeah, like
Denny,
I wanted to go with Denny, but like I went with who's hot at Gibbs right now, and Denny's not that hot at Gibbs. I think Kyle's.
I feel like he's cooling down too.
And watch, Denny will fucking win. I know it.
No, and I'm looking at the top 10 here. I'm looking at Alex Bowman. He ran really well at Coda. Denny Hamlin, like you said, great road course racer. MTJ off the table, but he's always a good.
Don't take that 2-4 car. I'll fucking snap.
I'm not going to take the 24 car. My head is telling me to pick
Matt, get that 30-second clock going, because whenever he's up to pick,
no,
it's 30-second clock.
So if you wait any longer, the race is going to be over.
Well, yeah. So my head is telling me pick Chase Elliott. He's starting in the front row. My heart, after watching him qualify so fast at Coda, and just the improvements he's made on road courses, he's starting in the 10th position.
He's going with his hometown hero.
I'm going with my hometown boy. He's going back to his home state of California.
Oh, shit.
He's gonna probably have his family in the grandstands, and I think that one, Tyler Reddick, is going to get his first win in the Cup Series this Sunday in his home state at Sonoma Raceway. Will it be MTJ from the back of the pack? Will it be
that
Kyle Busch and that Candyman passing out some M&Ms in victory lane? Or will it be the California kid used to dirt racing but making his way on a road track, one Tyler Reddick? We will find out this Sunday, the Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma Raceway, 4 p.m. on FS1, and we'll break it all down Monday night right here on the Bump and Run podcast. For Matt, the Statman Reilly, for Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying good night.
Bump and